All right, so we're going to go ahead and start on the board. So the job of the board is to take in sound from the patch rack out there or from locally, put it on a channel, and for you to be able to work with it and send it back out to somewhere. So let's start with the main logic of this board. This logic of the board is mixing to places. If you notice, these blue buttons down here say mix. This is probably one of the most missed things. These are where people have the most issues. Right now we have a channel over here called the mains. And we are mixing mains, meaning everything we're changing is going to the mains. So for right now, everything we deal with until we get to how to mix into other things is going to be dealing with the mains. That way we can just think about one simple thing. So this board has up to 80 channels. We have these buttons right here that let us flip through the channels. You may notice the things on the screen are changing. And if we flip down here, the things change. And this is just the same thing multiple times. So everything over here is the same thing, just multiple different ways. Over here we start to get into some different types of things, but we're starting nice and simple. So this is one channel strip. So we're going to learn one strip, because once we learn one, we can do all of them. So to this channel, starting from the top, it's got the name. I'll show you how to change that in a second. That way we can see what it is. It's got this knob down here, which we can set what it does from right here. So right now it's changing the gain. Here we can change the pan, which is making things come out of the left or right speaker by just twisting it this way a little bit. And then we can also set custom functions. Now, this is the meter of this channel. This is going to show us clipping and things like that. We'll get into that in just a second. But this is basically the energy going in there. Here's the mute button. We have the select button. The select button is how we get to work within the channel. This is another big thing, another commonly asked questions by people who get on this board for, the second time and they're starting to forget things. They forget how to work with every channel. So if I hit select on this channel, I'm working with just this channel. I change all the parameters of this channel from the select. We have the mix button. That's how we change mixes. Show that in just a second. And then we have this button down here, the PAFL button, which stands for Pre-After Fader Listen. And what this allows us to do is to listen to each individual channel. We keep a pair of headphones in the booth. You can bring your own earbuds. But this board has 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch outs. So you can just plug the headphones in after you get them untangled, because this booth is currently a mess. And now if I hit this button on this channel, I can turn the headphone volume up and listen to what's going in here without having the fader up. This is extremely useful for spot checking specific mics. If you think you have an issue, just going and hitting it and being able to listen to that one microphone. And then we have the fader down here, and this is how you change the attenuation, which is just a fancy way of saying this is your main adjustment for the volume. That's not the best word for it, but it's how you make the channel louder and quieter. So let's go into what every channel can do. This is just going to be an overview. We'll break up each section of this into its own section, because this is where things start to get difficult and harder to follow. So we hit the select button. Now we're looking at this channel. Well, this channel is currently named 1 and is black. Let's name it something else. Right up here where it says 1 and is black, we can click on that. And now we can name it something new. Let's just name it test. And we can make it a multiple of colors. There is a color scheme we generally use. You don't have to keep it this way, but it makes it very quick to go and find things. The only thing on the board that's red are the sends, like the mains and the subs. Only the important things are red. Channels and other things like that shouldn't be red. Green are things plugged into the stage. These are like wired microphones. Yellows, these are things commonly used, like an emergency microphone, the aux input for playing music. The two colors of blues and the purples are left open for whatever they need to be. Let's say pit mics or fly mics. And then white almost always means a DCA. We'll get into that in a minute. But this was the general color code we use, and I find it to work a lot because, I came up with it. So Try to stick to it. If things don't quite make sense with the colors they are, feel free to change them. But that was generally how we did things. So we're just going to make this test green. So we're going to spell test correct. So now this channel you can see is named test and is green. Now if we come back over here, if we go back to the screen, the first screen we're at is the overview screen. You can't change anything from the overview screen, it just shows you what's going on. I don't find it to be a particularly useful screen, but to each their own. Next is the preamp screen. This is probably the most important screen because this is what makes this channel do something. Now, unlike an analog board where you plug in your XLR above the channel you want it, we don't have that. We patch things out there and it comes in through Cat5. So we have to tell the board what we want to be on this strip, what we want right here. So we click this source select button and we get this drop down list. Almost everything we're going to want to put is on input sockets. There are very few things down here that you're going to want to put on here. So we're at input sockets. So down here is where we are. Right now, we're on 1 on the D-Snake. The D-Snake is the patching out in the closet. So if you patch something in the closet to 1, it'll show up here on 1. We patched 1 a while back, I think it was to 13. If we wanted that to show up here, we could go D-Snake 13 and hit apply. We can put anything on the D-Snake on this channel. Next, when it rolls back over after 24 to D-Snake Expander. We currently do not have one of those. If we had one of those, it would be out in the closet. But nothing will show up on the D-Snake Expander as of now. There will be nothing there. Next is the local expander. The local expander is inside of here. These wireless mics down here, wireless mics 1 through 8 show up on the local expander. They are numbered as follows: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just starting from the top left corner, going left and then down. 9, 10, 11, 12 have to be plugged into the back. I'll show that in just a moment. So if we have something on the first box, the first RF box, it will be on local expander 1, all the way up until local expander 8. And then we have the locals. In the back of the board, we have 4 XLR inputs back here, and these are where the other 4 wireless mics are. You see we have 4 XLR tails, and they're labeled on there. They say RF10, RF9, RF11, RF12, and so on. So we just plug them in back there, and they're labeled local 41, 42, 43, and so on. We also have an aux cable, for plugging a laptop or your phone in, that comes in XLR that stays in this cabinet down here. That goes right in the back if you want to do it that way. And that's just patching the regular channels. So that's how we put, say, local expander 1 on this channel. So now we have local expander 1 on here. We can pull the channel up. We can put gain in it. And if we take a look at this screen, you can see we have gain down here. And here's where we put phantom power. All of those condenser mics we talked about that said we need phantom power, things like that, this is where that is. I'm just going to dial this back to a regular D-Snake. So let's say we have a floor mic in 21. It needs phantom power because it's a condenser. We're going to go to 48 volts and we're going to hold it. And it's going to pop, it's going to turn red, and it's going to be on. Always have it pulled down when you put phantom power in it because you are putting energy in it. And if you have it pulled up, it'll pop very loudly. And then to turn it off, you just hold it down. And we can also control the gain here. We'll talk about pads in just a moment, but what pads do is they decrease the gain. This is useful in the signal flow, but when we talk about gain staging, we'll talk about that then. This is trim. You won't really use this on a microphone. This is where the polarity button is. We'll talk about that shortly. And this is also one of the places you can put a high pass in. Next we have the gate. It'll have its own video. We have the inserts. I have not particularly used them, so I don't feel bad about leaving them out of this video. Next we have the parametric equalizer. It'll have its video. We have a compressor. It'll have a video. And then we have the delays and the routing. So that's just your regular channel. In the next video, we'll talk about different types of channels and things like that. Thank you.
Thank you.